Welcome to the Connect Show. I am Kim Knock, founder and owner of Opportunities Knocking. I help coaches, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and leaders achieve social media consistency to increase their business visibility through training, personal connection, and events. Today, we want to help you do business better. We bring incredible guests who provide a step-by-step approach to increasing your sales, making social media more fun, building a community.
I am Dottie Posto. I am a leadership consultant and a coach. So I help you level up your leaders, level up your teams, or when you've got those employees or leaders who are working 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week and they're on the verge of burnout or they're already in burnout, they are no good to you.
Ma'am.
You are not getting their genius. You are not getting their best. Their productivity is tanking. So call me in. I'm their coach. I will work with them and help them get their life back. And actually, they can get as much done in 40 hours a week.
Mm-hmm. My name is John Taylor, and I'm from Studio A5, the Content Creation Lab in Waukesha. We are opening up here in March, and I'm so excited to have you all there. So we have worked with hundreds of coaches, consultants, and heart-based businesses over the past decade, and one thing still holds true. Every small business needs support and knowledge to keep moving in a positive direction. We are so honored to have these amazing guests step up to the challenge of changing the world in 10 minutes.
Last week, we had Paul Hannon, and he said he spent 90% of his time working on the business and only gets to spend 10% taking his pictures. I thought about, how could we all spend 10% of our time to generate a massive amount of revenue?
That's wild. A friend of mine wrote a book called Release, How to Live a Clutter-Free and Soul-Driven Life. And she talks about the magic of 10%. 10% more. 10%, how can you clean 10%? How can you just do 10% more? And when I think of spending 10% of my time to generate a massive amount of revenue, what comes to mind first is follow-up. I meet so many people, and I will say that I wasn't great at it last year, so I have stacks of cards, and I don't mean one stack of cards this big. I mean, I have 7 stacks of cards.
So you were out doing the work.
I was out meeting people. I love meeting people. And then it's the minutia of getting their information into my CRM and sending them the email and all of that. So to me, the 10% is getting through those cards and really doing that follow-up because, I may spend a bunch of time at a networking event and it really, for each person, it doesn't take that long to follow up.
There might be an app for that. So the 10%, social media is my 10%. How can I have a destination? And, the basics is a funnel, and that would be the solution. Where I want to take my business is having that clear vision of, what kind of income I'd like to have, what kind of people I'd like to be around, what type of impact I would like to make. All of those things, some people put those in order, you have to have this in front of this. To me, they're all just one thing. So to have that funnel where people can know, like, and trust me, and go in, to an email kind of connection, I can give them a freebie, and then they can go to a webinar, and then they can give me a little bit of money for, some type of course, and then a lot of money for a big course or training program. That's the basics of a funnel. If you look at everybody who's doing it, everybody who's really successful doing those 6, 7, 8-figure businesses, they all have that same process. So why try to reinvent it? Just do it. And part of that comes with consistency. A lot of it comes with consistency of just showing up. That 10% of my day would be showing up, following LinkedIn directions like Heike gave us. Or following, any other plan where I'm just doing that thing on a daily basis.
If I could make an observation from what I'm hearing from both of you is you're spending that 90% doing the networking. Your 10% needs to be the cleanup, or I'm not going to say networking, relationship building. because you're tending to those relationships, and that's super, super, super important for me. And that's where I'm following a lot of the same processes that you are, but taking maybe more of that 90% on nurturing the relationships, or that 10% on nurturing the relationships, because I am doing the 90% of building the relationships and consistently attending the meetings, so that maybe I don't have that stack of cards, because guess what? I've seen that person again. And just collecting a business card to me is not nurturing a relationship at all. So I'm really focusing on both of what you guys said for my 10%.
Yeah, and a little thing that you can do that I've been trying to implement in my day-to-day is when I hear little things at those networking events that are kind of trivial or just kind of family things about the dog or whatever, how can I reach out and respond about that little thing rather than saying, hey, did you get a ticket for my thing, my networking event, or did you buy punch keys today? I don't know. I just wanted to say it.
Punch keys.
I didn't get to say it. I had to do
John
it.
had to say punch key.
I had to get punch out. It's Fat Tuesday for us today.
Yes, we are recording on Tuesday.
So you guys all get to laugh on Thursday.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, I hope you can all find your 10%. Maybe John has an AI tool you can use to accelerate your business. John, how are we keeping it real with AI today?
Let's take a look.
Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real with AI. My name is John Taylor, and today we are going to talk about Copilot, which is AI Microsoft style. It's your everyday AI companion, and it's a little bit different than some of the other things that are out there. So I think the biggest thing that I found in using it is that it's basically using the Open AI, the ChatGPT engine, and it has just a better interface for it. It allows you to do more things in one interface rather than having to go to ChatGPT to do one thing, DALL-E for another, or Midjourney, and then using the different tools. I think it's the future of what interfaces will be, but they're not really creating any technology. They're using old technology and putting a new face on it. So let's take a look at how it works. In the bottom, the way that you use it is really a blank slate, and you go in and you ask it anything. So we're going to put a prompt in there, and Copilot is going to go to work. And it's going to spit out the content just like ChatGPT would, give you a step-by-step plan on how to do it. So I gave it a prompt. One thing that I like about what Copilot does is it has additional prompts, and then it'll say, make it at night, and then it will start thinking and then create something. So the cool thing is that you can edit it in Designer. And Designer's kind of a Canva Microsoft version. One thing that's also available on Windows 11 is you can launch Copilot from Windows 11. And from the taskbar, you can simply hit Windows and C, and it'll launch Copilot. And you can do things like summarize open tabs and use it to enhance your browsing experience on the internet. Copilot's pretty cool. There's a lot of new things that you can do. And with that, we're going to go back to our first guest, Ben Zang, and he's going to talk about making money a priority.
Ben Zang is going to talk about making money a priority. After owning a business for almost 2 decades, Ben moved on to family life and a life of consulting. He has consulted in fields like technology, sales training, operational development, and he's found his home in employee benefits. His philosophy is based on an educational approach that empowers his clients to choose what works best for them.
Ben has cultivated a wide network of experts with a breadth of wisdom and resources that he makes a point of sharing. This community-based approach to service has allowed him to offer a more comprehensive approach to employee benefits. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Thank you. That's such a mouthful, hearing that out loud. Sorry.
That's a lot. And there's like this little birdie that told me you're a nerd for templates.
I am. I tend to think in if-then statements. If I want this, then I have to do this. If I want to get skinny, then I can't eat punchkis.
Oh, the punchki.
We are recording this on Punchki. It's Fat Tuesday.
I told you we'd bring it in.
Hello.
Yeah, absolutely.
Punchki Tuesday. All right. Well, before the show, you said make money making a priority. Make money making a priority.
Yes.
You have my attention. It made me say it twice, so you really have my attention.
Yes.
How can I make more money?
So I think people start a business always, I'm going to make money, or they have a vision for a business as to what they want to do. And then they hire employees, and all of a sudden those employees become very personal, and they forget why they're in the business. And so I see business owners kind of bend over backwards to take care of their employees. But what they forget is, if the business isn't making money and the business isn't successful, there will be no employees. And so the ping pong table or the thing you buy for your employee isn't going to help them when they don't have a paycheck. So there's a adage that says, without a vision, the people will perish. And I think that's the biggest thing. So your money-making strategy has to come from your vision.
So you have a strategy. Mm-hmm. Can you give us an overview of what that looks like, that money-making strategy?
Sure. So it's always where you start is what made you do it, what's the why or the vision. And then you need to test it. Like, tell your friends about it. Would they buy it, or do they roll their eyes at you, right? Can you bring others in to exchange their energy towards vision? Meaning, will people join your team to get the vision off the ground? And then, what's the offering within that vision? What problem are you solving? And then, does it scale?
So we have the vision, the why, kind of getting the right people around you,
Yep, that's important.
scale it.
Yeah.
So let's dive a little bit deeper into each of those and help people understand.
Sure.
Let's start with the vision.
Can you articulate a vision? So in my business, I help businesses take care of their people, which is funny now that we've said this. But my why is I hate bullies. I've always been the kid that stood up to the bully on the playground. And right now, I don't think there's a bigger bully out there than health insurance or hospital systems and things like that. The lack of transparency really creates confusion in something that's very primal and intimate for people. And so I work for a firm that basically kind of rips open the Band-Aid and shows people how to look at it so that they can feel like they can win.
You couldn't have said it any better. It's like the health insurance that's a tough thing. Even for like the leaders, they don't want to be the ones to present these icky plans or these cost intensive things to their employees, because then they almost kind of become the bad guy, right?
Truly. I mean, all of a sudden you're responsible for somebody's pregnancy
Yeah.
plan, things like that. Being able to go to doctors, it's a very intimate thing.
Yeah.
So it's tough to win on that.
Our family was just having a conversation. I sent something about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that safety, that security, that health, that wellness, that's all some of those base needs that people have, that when those aren't fulfilled, they are not going to be offering you their best.
No,
know?
not at all.
Which is why getting buy-in from your team and allies is so critical. Tell us more about that part of the strategy.
We share wins in our team. And so I have a goal to have saved $1 million in premiums for small businesses. So I actually, I'm almost there. I'm about 3/4 of the way there. And so
Congratulations for
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
It's amazing,
That's
really.
That's a
And
huge
then
impact.
Yeah.
my network that we talked about in the intro is actively helping me get it. So we've got this buy-in of people who believe in the help and in the vision. So I actually get about a referral every 36 hours, give or take. And it's strange, I'll be with other salespeople and they'll be like, is it weird that you just get people that'll call you out of the blue to buy your stuff? And I'm like, no, I mean, people need the help. So the vision is working, right? And they find value in it. And then it's not just your customers, but the people that service your customers. Can you get them to buy into the vision?
And that's really showing that your vision is extending beyond just, those that are working for you and with you.
Right.
To have your network believe in your vision as well is a really, really, really big
Right.
thing.
If you're in a
To
group
get- they
that
bought
just
in.
eats blue food,
Yeah.
probably not going to be a lot of buy-in.
Right, but they bought in.
Yeah.
So not just your immediates. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how do we scale?
How do you scale? Share your vision. You have to look at what happens if they're not ready for what you're bringing. Can you bring them to the next level, the next step? Maybe your solution is the right solution, but they're not in the place to hear it or receive it.
Yeah.
So can you be of service in that place? Right. So if your bottom line is to create a win for both you and for the person you're in front of, how do you do that? And so a lot of times I'll have a person in front of me who's just not ready to scale yet, but wants to know what that next level looks like. And so in that moment, I can help them lay the foundation that then allows them to get to the place they're trying to go. Or I can be the guy that connects them to another guy that helps them get to where they want to go. So I have a saying that's kind of, if I am the guy that knows a guy, then I'm the guy always in the conversation. And so for me, that's the win.
Or the
Can
guy
I be
that
a-
knows a gal.
Or gal.
That brings a
That
really,
saying was brought up way before that.
I know.
but that brings a really collaborative effort, and I'm all about collaboration. Anyone that knows me, that's my jam. You're bringing other people together, and maybe your personality doesn't mesh perfect with them, and they're like, you know what, we're an all-female industry, and I really like what you have to say, Ben, but I would really like to support a woman. And you maybe say, you know what, I have the perfect person
I
for
have
you.
a number of gals.
You
for
know,
that. Yeah.
or vice versa. I'm really not comfortable talking about my benefits with a female, but I want to have your expertise, and you've come so highly recommended, so it just works. It ebbs and it flows, and it's
Well, and you have to know who you're dealing with too.
Yes.
Are they a person who is driven by the numbers, or are they driven by?
we just talked about this. A lot of it is driven by emotion, and being able to handle that emotion and asking that question, what's holding you back, right?
Yeah. So how can anyone get in touch with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, of course. My email and my phone number is out there. But you can, I'm part of a group we call the Consortium. And basically it's those business experts designed to help a business in whatever phase they are. Commercial lending, financial planning, a number of different areas.
That's awesome. So links are on the screen. Get in touch with Ben.
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
I had a fun conversation with Ben. I think
This was
everyone would
amazing.
have a fun
I think
conversation.
Yeah.
everyone would have a great conversation.
Really.
So
Yeah, I mean, there was a snort in the beginning of the
I
conversation.
know.
there might have been.
Amazing.
There
We
might
were
have been.
laughing so hard before we came on camera.
I think it's always a good time at the Connect Show helping others. So thank you so much, Ben, for joining us today. It was a blast.
Thank
Just
you
gonna
very
talk
much.
over Dottie talking about me snorting because
It was awesome. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done that.
It was
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Happy Fat Tuesday.
Thank you.
Fat
Happy
Tuesday.
Fat
We
Tuesday.
even snuck in some Punchki conversation. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Ben. I'm loving the energy today. Ben talked about selling and doing business through relationships. And there is no better place to build relationships than LinkedIn. And no better person to help us than Heike. Heike, what do you have for us this week?
Welcome to another LinkedIn Highlights with Heike segment. Today I have 2 tips for you. Number 1, when you set up your profile, or if you make a change later on, make sure that you upload all of your email addresses into the profile. Even though only one of them will show to your connections, make sure they're all in there. I was just speaking with a gentleman again this morning who had only one email linked to his profile and no longer has access to that email account. And because he wanted to make a change, LinkedIn's message was, we sent an email to that email address to confirm you really want to make that change. So he's out of luck with this profile right now, and we'll have to find a workaround. So make sure that you have 2 or even 3 emails linked to your account. That way, if you change jobs or if you get hacked on one email, that you can still access your account. It's a profile that can bring you a lot of benefits over time, but if you lose access, you're out of luck. And then make sure that the one that you really want to be connected with your clients is your primary. So you can select which of them is your primary. It's probably going to be your business one, but you could have a personal one and maybe one from your charity that you work with, or the church that you work with, or your alumni association. So put all emails in there. That way, if people meet you in one path of life, they can contact you the way they best know how. The other tip is make sure that you select the correct industry for what you want to be found for. We all make career changes, and that is a segment on your profile you might forget about, but you want to make sure that you have the correct industry selected so that when it comes to filtering their searches, people can find you in the industry that you're currently in. If you need any more help with LinkedIn, feel free to set up a free call with me or simply connect with me on LinkedIn and shoot me a message. I'm easy to find. Heike Heyman.
The guy with the voice is our next guest. Roger is an emotional intelligence expert, professional MC, and voiceover artist. He works with people who want to master their emotions, strengthen their relationships, and live a more fulfilling life using emotional intelligence. He doesn't give up on people. He believes that they will find a way to move forward and improve. How does he do it?
Roger's programs and MC presence are high content and motivational in style and tone. He delivers stories, ideas, and keys to unlock what's already inside you. Roger lives in Madison, Wisconsin. He is the immediate past president of the National Speakers Association of Wisconsin with the Wisconsin chapter. We'll have to talk about that later. He loves to travel, me too. He loves to bike, me too, and science fiction. He's a big fan of baseball, pinball, and all things Tesla. Welcome, Roger.
Thanks for having me.
I heard pinball. What's up with that? Like, do people still do that? I know my husband talked about doing it in high school, but
Right.
I don't know that I've seen a pinball machine in a long time.
Right, so if you're under 35, go Google pinball. I do love to play pinball, and you can play competitively. I've been playing competitively for 2 years, and as my friends know from Facebook, it's a thing. You know, when I first started putting it out there, they're like, what? Yeah, so everything from the old machines to the brand new ones.
Wow.
So brand new ones, there's probably not even like a ball there. It's all like, it's lasers. You're just guessing, right? Like, if I press this at the exact right time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So you've not only been playing pinball for a few rotations of the sun, but you've also been in front of crowds speaking for quite a while.
I have, going into my 8th year of doing that. I've been all over the place for the past 35 years. You might say that everything that I've done has led up to my speaking career. So I talk about emotional intelligence. That's what I do. I've delivered over 200 workshops on emotional intelligence, worked with hundreds of people, and you know what? The story is always the same with people. The people with the most curiosity are the people who consistently embrace their ability to change their emotional intelligence, because we can change that. They're willing to improve themselves and how they see the world.
When you said curiosity, it actually reminded me of something. I had a leader who gave me 3 leadership principles, and one of them was get curious before you get furious.
Oh, I like the way you put that. Yes.
And you have a mind shift approach, don't you, that I was looking at, and it really talks about curiosity and going from like 0 to full curiosity. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I'm going to go show you how to go from 0 to open-minded curiosity, and it opens up everything for us. Every time I do this exercise in my talks, it gets the most response. So when we're open to curiosity, we see our options more clearly, we're able to regulate our emotions, and when we regulate our emotions, that's when we're better able to make decisions.
I kind of agree with that. Like, not to sidebar, but if you're making decisions emotionally,
Right.
you're not always making the best decision for you, right?
Well,
If
we
you're making
make all of our
yeah.
decisions
off
based on
of
an emotion.
We do make
yeah.
them.
We make all
But
decisions.
an extreme emotion
Right.
is
Yeah,
really
but
difficult,
with-
yeah,
right?
when you're
Without logic. So we feel
Yeah.
emotion in the amygdala first, and if we're stuck there, right, then it's just this recursive process. We're never able to get to the prefrontal cortex where logic comes in. So I would say we're not able to make rational decisions. So the strategy is really quite simple. It's about reframing the situation. And perhaps you've heard about this. The difference actually is, you all ready for this? The difference is when you go between have to and get to.
I love that.
Yeah.
When you're making the decisions, I get to do this.
Right.
So much more fun, right?
is.
Like, I like fun.
yeah.
too.
And is it also between have to and want to?
Right. There's a bit of that in there as well.
I think that's a harder, I wonder which one might be a harder stretch for people.
Right.
So can you show me how this get to is done? Give me a little, I got my paper, I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we got our pen and paper.
Okay, so we first start with a task, any task. And let's say that, I'll give you an example from my world. I have to make follow-up calls to clients. And if any of you have ever made phone calls, it can be hard. It can definitely be hard. Yeah, right? And, I have to make a phone call. In my mind, when I say I have to make a phone call, it goes to all kinds of negative places, right? I'm alone in my office and I'm like, oh, I got to make this phone call. I have to make this phone call. And all kinds of things come into play. They're busy, they don't want to talk to me, they're not ready for me, they're going to say no, blah, 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 right? I start climbing this inference ladder of emotion. So in a have to mindset, we go negative and there's not much room or no room for curiosity at all. So the next thing that we do is then I put it into a get to task. What happens when I get to make those phone calls? Oh, well, when I get curious. Who am I going to meet on the other end? I get to ask them questions. I can't control if they answer, so what? But I get to find out if they're interested or not. So when I get curious about making the phone call, I get curious about, hey, maybe I'll make a new friend, just like I have with all my past clients, right? So I go from the negative, they don't want to talk to me, to the possibility of, hey, maybe I will make a relationship out of this after all. So in all of these cases, I'm curious. Curiosity is what leads me to openness to pick up the phone and dial.
What a fun way to look at that. Like, I get to, that's supposed to be silent, I get to follow up with this person that I met at a networking event.
One way to look at that, I get to.
Okay, sorry about that. I silenced it, so that is an emergency call coming through. So I get to follow up with this person that I met at a networking event. Not, I've got to make this phone call. Right. That's so cool to look at it that way.
Right.
What a fun way to do it.
Have to, no curiosity. Get to, abundance of curiosity.
You just changed my world right there. Just in that one little moment.
So I want to go back to the emotional intelligence a little bit. I know this is all part of it. But what's one of the key tenets that you teach your leaders and teams that you're speaking to around emotional intelligence?
Great question, Dottie. What I do is I talk to them about how to respond versus react. Respond versus react. And one of the ways we do that is with this get to, have to model. So let's walk through how we can do it with decisions and outcomes. So let's take the emotion of anger or surprise. we were talking about this off camera, you're allowed to feel anger, right? How you respond to it is a choice, okay? So it may sound wacky right now, but what if I responded to anger with curiosity? Let me show you how that works. So have you ever received feedback, feedback you never asked for, right? Yeah, we all have, right?
That's why I get the does. I get the does not play well with others.
Right. So if you've received it, you know what I'm talking about. So let's say I receive feedback from my friend Andy, and Andy gives me feedback that I don't like. Well, I get this from clients all the time. So Andy tells me he thinks I'm talking too much in meetings. And this actually happened to me early on in my career. So try the model. I have to be angry about the feedback. Sounds kind of weird to say that, but you are angry about the feedback in the moment. Now, I can stay in that mindset. I can stay stuck there, right? I'm angry, 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 angry. Wait, what if I was curious? Why did Andy say that I talk too much in meetings? I get to be angry at Andy. So I work through those feelings, and then I get to be angry at Andy. Now, when I'm curious about it, what happens is I think Andy must have observed something about me in the meeting. What do I need to do about that? See, that goes to my self-awareness, and self-awareness is one of the key components of emotional intelligence. So when I get curious, then I'm able to change the behavior. What if I change the way that I work in meetings? What if I used more body language instead of my voice in the meetings? What are different ways that I can do this? Instead of being, now I'm no longer angry at Andy, I'm grateful to Andy, which is what the get to is all about, the abundance of curiosity, the abundance of being grateful. So that's how that works.
I know so many people that this could work for, because not all feedback is meant to be harmful to you. Like, maybe Andy didn't mean to say it that way, but you
Right.
took it right to straight anger
100%.
because you were offended. But really, he was trying to be like, maybe Susie next to me wanted 5 minutes, and I loved what you had to say, but no one else, but they ran out of time.
Exactly.
It's not that what you were doing was bad, but it was an observation. So that's kind of cool.
Exactly.
So how can I do this myself?
Right. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Here's my challenge for everyone. Take a look at your task list, or think about a situation that's bothering you where you need to make a decision to move forward. For each task or situation, just grab a piece of paper, physical or digital paper, and what you do is you make 2 columns, just across and down. And on the left-hand side, just label that have to, and on the right-hand side, label that as get to. Okay? Then pick a task, pick something. It could be, let's say, what's a task? Let's say that I have to mow the lawn. There's one. I have to mow the lawn. Well, you're stuck, right? I got to mow the lawn.
Yeah.
Got to mow the lawn. Turn it in now. Right on the right-hand side, I have to mow the lawn. Or I get to mow the lawn.
Yeah.
Well, when you change it to I get to mow the lawn, it's like, oh my gosh, well, I have a lawn. I'm grateful that I have a lawn to mow. Yeah. I'm grateful that I got a powered lawnmower instead of a push mower. I get to be outside. I have a house, that has, all these kinds of things start coming into play. You come from a place of abundance and gratitude when you think about, I get to. Yeah. And it works for darn near anything.
And that have to really seems to, you called it, was it the ladder of inference?
Yes.
I always look at that as a downward spiral.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a downward spiral, because when we start getting into, okay, if I have to mow the lawn, I got to go outside. It's hot outside. I'm going to get sweaty. I'm going to get dirty. Yeah. I don't want to mow the lawn. We go down there, but then when you get to the have to side, it opens up so much more, and you become more curious about the task.
I get to have fresh air. I get to do all those things that find the positive.
I get my steps in.
Sounds a lot like finding the positive in something that isn't always positive.
Away.
Right.
Your power more.
But you do. You're right. You do find the positive, or you're more open to seeing the positive in from a negative mindset.
So this is super simple. I think we can all implement this.
Absolutely.
Have to get to 2 columns. It's a pro con. It's a have to get to. and sometimes it's actually helpful to let yourself go in that downward spiral and notice what you're feeling.
Exactly.
And then go to the other side and just notice in your body what feels different.
We
It
did
can be
this
really
once on
fun.
the show with the spiral, and I'm gonna revert back to it because it really was amazing for me. Is when you get to the bottom, it's really hard to get back up.
It can be.
Of the spiral, but this gives you a way to get back up.
This gives you a way to get back up there. Try get
And
to.
so thank you for that, because
welcome.
sometimes I do find myself in the bottom of the spiral,
Yeah,
and I have a way to get back up now. So thank you.
that's great.
Yeah.
So, how can people get in touch with you? And are there any events you have coming up that we should know about?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, you can go to rogerwolkoff.com. I've got a couple of events coming up with clients, some talks and workshops on emotional intelligence in the next couple of months. So always staying busy.
Keep those events on your website.
I
I'm
will.
hoping, right? Amazing, and then everybody can connect with you and find the way to get up that spiral.
And his info's on the bottom of the screen. So, connect with Roger. His info's there. Connect. I've already went to LinkedIn, found him on LinkedIn, and sent a connection.
Thank you.
So, last thing we want to share is Roger and my husband alike are big fans of Punchki Day.
Totally.
We are recording this on Punchki Day, and so whether it's a prune punchki or a cream punchki,
I'm just gonna smile.
Who doesn't
You're
love
a funchki.
Who doesn't love a good punchki? Who doesn't love a good punchki?
Happy Fat Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Fat Tuesday.
Carrie's experience in clinical private practice in a large teaching hospital sports medicine center, as an instructor in a DPT program, as a competitive collegiate athlete, as a wife and a mom, yoga teacher, and running coach have all led her to where she is today. These learning opportunities and professional experiences have culminated in the work she loves to do. At True Stride Physio and Coaching, Carrie has created a space where she has the opportunity each day to help runners thrive.
Carrie is a PT and running coach focused on empowering runners to thrive, rehab, physical and mindset training, and overcome injury. Optimizing trainer, helping new runners successfully start their running journey.
Welcome to the show, Carrie. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to hop right into this.
Great.
So, what is one thing you are really focused on?
I don't know if you've ever watched the show Ted Lasso. Okay, well, one of the main characters, Danny Rojas, his tagline is "Football is life," and to me, running is life. And just to not alienate anyone, if you haven't, if you've never been a runner or not interested, the reason I say this is because I think with running there are a lot of parallels to our life experience, parallels to goals or challenges we might face, whether they be health and fitness, mindset, or business and other types of educational or personal goals.
It's pretty amazing. I have a lot of friends that are runners, and it's like in their soul to run.
Yeah, there's just a person who's truly born to run is just a different animal. I mean, just the mindset. I mean, all my mental clarity comes in movement, whether I'm running, jumping rope, lifting weight, like I'm in it. And running is something, if you want to be successful, or a lot of people just have fun and go for the bagels,
Sure.
But,
yeah, go for the snacks.
Yeah, you almost have to be outside your body. Like your mind has to be that strong. Outside of PT, like what's your background in physical fitness?
Yeah. Right. So physical therapy has been like my background training, and I have worked in the industry for over 20 years. But ahead of that, I was a runner and ran competitively in high school and in college. But I played other sports too, soccer, and even dabbled in basketball myself as a youngster until I kind of like height limited myself. But yeah, having that background and that underlying sort of passion for movement, but particularly my movement choice was running, led me to want to just help other people find it for themselves, or for people that had already found it, want to keep pursuing that healthy journey of running, and maybe up level to some different form of challenge within the sport. And the thing about it is for For many people, it would be surprising to hear, but the truth is that for a lot of athletes that I work with, it is not the physical challenge that is the most difficult part of running. There's more to it than that mindset piece, and that's where I think a lot of parallels can come, even if you're not a runner or never have been interested in running. Some of the coaching around mindset and what we adults tend to limit ourselves with. We could take these across many domains that we address in our life, in our business.
So you're kind of leading into this. Running seems to be as much physical as it is mental. But you've been talking a lot about mindset. So how do you help with getting over the mental hurdles of running and life?
Great question. I think there's a lot of ways, right, to approach this depending on the person. It's nice if you can have a bit of a framework to address across different types of people. There seem to be certain similarities, and I think this is where I've kind of come into this thought about like this framework of what I call the 3 C's, and applying that to runners who are either new to the sport, who are maybe been away from the sport due to injury or just time away for some other setback, or for those that are trying to up-level and maybe set maybe even a big scary goal for either a new distance or a new event. Very different reasons for participating, but all boil down to some of those same principles when we're talking about how to get over those challenges, how to get through the mindset work.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Nike fan, but there was one shirt that I never forgot when I saw it, and it said, if I would have started running when I first thought about it, I'd be done by now. And I think about that, like, as far as that mental and that physical and bridging that gap, like, do you have a strategy you use in your coaching program for that?
Yes. It's kind of the framework that I think about is, like I said, the 3 C's. And so that involves the following. 1 C is just the challenge itself. And then approaching that challenge from a perspective of both curiosity and compassion. And taking into account this framework, we could be talking about a big overarching goal and applying these 3 C's. But more specifically, this applies even when we're along the journey, the process itself, and the small action steps that are required to get to that end goal.
Amazing. So we can break down this process a little bit. So you gave us the 3 C's, but let's explain what each C is. So we have challenge, we have curiosity, and compassion, right? Challenge sounds so hard, like it's just a word, right? So let's talk about challenge first.
It is the word, is challenge. What is the obstacle? What is the outcome, perhaps? The overall goal. And again, any of those little action steps along the way to get there. So maybe the overall goal is to run a marathon, 26.2 miles. But you can't just decide that and then just, hope that 4 to 6 months from now that happens, right? There are those little actions along the way. And any or all of those may pose a challenge. A weekly mileage goal, a daily run. Each of those can be their own inherent challenge, but are part of the whole process, making it to the goal. So recognizing the challenge at hand at that moment, and then, as we say, lean into it. Understand that you're going to face a little bit of difficulty potentially in order to make a change or witness some growth.
That's great. So we have challenge and then curiosity.
Curiosity, I think, yeah, you just gotta be curious, ready to explore, right? This is that concept of like detaching oneself from the outcome, right? As adults, I think we all have some sort of beliefs around what is going to be successful, what is going to be doing it the right way, what is going to be doing it the best way. And the idea behind curiosity is trying to be willing to explore, right? Not being too attached to one outcome, being open to possibilities, being open to failing sometimes and willing to draw some learning from why that happened and maybe what to do next time.
Important. Okay, so lastly, compassion.
Compassion. So really thinking about compassion for oneself in the process. Again, whatever the challenge is, likely this is something new. So allowing oneself to be like new to something again, being a beginner, knowing some mistakes can happen, knowing it's not going to go perfectly well, and allowing yourself some grace instead of blaming or feeling like something bad has happened, something's gone wrong, avoiding that flood of thoughts and feelings like maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe I can't do this. It's recognizing, no, I'm just facing this challenge, it's new to me, I can continue on, and I need some time to get used to it.
Give yourself some love.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
like, give yourself some love. We all deserve to give ourselves some love.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
right.
I like that. I think compassion might be my favorite.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. It's not a word,
we're
right?
not-
One might think about, if you're thinking about like a sporting activity, that's what we're talking about, running. But
Yeah.
once again, think of all the new challenges anybody faces any day in life, maybe in your business, in your educational journey. Giving yourself that compassion at any time is important.
Yeah, I think we're all really hard on ourselves. So that's, I don't know, that's why I really like to hear that one.
Self-talk is the most destructive talk. Like, if you're not in awareness of that, you are going to allow everyone else to talk to you how you aren't aware that you talk to yourself. And that's why I think a lot of people freeze up when that happens or lash out. There's rarely a gray area. It's like either or.
Let's bring this all together. Do you have an idea or a challenge for anybody, maybe besides running?
Yeah.
So running's your jam, but you've got a lot in there.
Running's my jam, but I think, yes, let's take, maybe there's a way to take this framework elsewhere.
Use it for anything.
Use it for anything. I love the discussion that we just had because so many salient points, but one of the big things is like you have to spend some time with it. If you're trying to make a change, yes, but also even these 3 points, especially the curiosity, the compassion, like that part of the framework in and of itself might be new to people.
Definitely.
Right? So thinking about how to sort of rewire the mindset, change up the self-talk and belief, bringing this together, I've put together like this little worksheet. It's the 3 C's challenge, and you'll be able to download it, that worksheet with a link below. But basically the essence of it is just a nice little writing exercise for you to track, pick a challenge, and then apply those 3 C's. If you do it for a period of 5 days, maybe you can aim at a specific target you have in mind. And at the end of 5 days, if you keep going for even longer with it and maybe applying it to a few different things, maybe that's where you'll see more of a transformation taking place.
Some of writing that down holds yourself accountable too. There's a little bit of accountability aspect to it and brings it to fruition. It's not just living in here right now. It's out on paper. Someone else could pick that paper up and went, what are you doing today, Carrie? I see what you wrote down. Maybe you don't want anyone to see it, but you know, it definitely helps bring that out of your mind and into the real world.
Yeah, definitely some clarity in writing it down or talking it out loud.
And I love that, like 5 days. And, you know, how many, I don't know if people believe in the it's 21 days to set a habit, or I think that's the amount of days. Be making that up. But you're formulating something really positive. So it's great. I love it.
So how can people get in touch with you? What's your social media handle?
People can find me on Instagram most frequently, and that is at true.stride. You can also find me through my name that way on Instagram or on LinkedIn, just through Carrie Trubenbach.
Amazing. It's absolutely wonderful to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us and teaching us the 3 C's.
Thank you for having me. It's been a fun conversation.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Partners in Excellence. We're doing the pie segment.
It's time.
Hi.
Go time. I love pie.
Partners in Excellence. We have to thank Sweet Connie's. They bring us a lovely pie every week to share with friends while we talk about something amazing.
It is such a, I mean, they drive all the way out here. They bring us these amazing pies. Lemon cheesecake, I got to tell you.
Look at that.
Oh God,
Candy-
Daddy, you can start
With
cutting
candied
the pie.
lemons. Yeah.
We're gonna start. She's gonna start cutting the pie. We're gonna talk a little bit about an amazing event. We are relocating Studio A5. Tell us about our brand new space where we get to have a live studio audience. What's happening March 5th?
Oh my goodness. So on March 5th, Studio A5 is the new space that we have, and it's in Waukesha, 1930 West Blue Mound. It's just a couple buildings west of that Sam's Club on Springdale and Blue Mound Road. It's a beautiful 3,200 square feet facility, and we're going to start doing the Connect show live. So it'll be a live studio audience. We're going to go full Oprah. I don't know if we'll have brand new cars for everybody on the first day, but we'll work our way up to it.
It's goals. Goals.
Goals.
Yeah.
Got to put it out there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. So there's a stage, there's couches, there's comfy, there's newsroom desk set up, all kinds of things. But we get to have a live audience, which we've done at some networking events, and it's been really fun.
It has been fun, and I think what I'm looking forward to is the networking. So keeping the show, tight, keeping it short so that we can provide value, change the world in 10 minutes, but then also have an opportunity where you can meet with the guest. You can talk a little bit more with other people, connect, collaborate,
Love it all. I can't wait. March 5th.
March 5th.
Stay tuned.
Let them eat pie.
Upcoming event, and let everybody eat pie. We are ready for pie.
Was it let
We're
them
gonna
eat
hand
pie or was it let them
John
eat cake?
plate over.
That's another show.
Do you want candied lemon or do you want non-candied?
there is
That
a
looks like a
cake
John piece
bottle.
right
Whoa,
there.
whoa, whoa.
That is a John piece.
Eddie McFadden.
Enjoy Fat Tuesday.
It's Fat Tuesday.
It may or may not be punchki, but we got it.